All right. Welcome to another open court discussion live in the Counselor's Corner. I am your host, David Lorenzo Glover, aka the Controversial Counselor. Joining me as my co host, the Big Bad Wolf, Herb Lewis.
Oh,
Okay, the Wolf is hungry after being out last week. Uh, Join us as we will be swiping right on honesty, as we will be discussing the topic, the dating minimum wage. We will dive into the bare minimum in dating because let's face it, some standards are just basic. We will focus on 9 core standards. Number one, communication. Number two, emotional support. Number three, effort. Number four, respect. Number five, shared values. Number six, physical connection. Number seven, reliability. Number eight, personal growth. And number nine, red flags. Please like and share our video. And don't forget to tell a uncle to tell a uncle to subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Controversial Counselor, sitting at about 923 subs, 77 away from 1K. My goal would be to crack the 1K mark by the end of the year. So that means we need at least 10 new subs a week. Are you willing to help us get there? Okay, gang, here we are. Pre Eve before uh, the big showdown, the election tomorrow. Got a lot of people excited. A lot of people are nervous, and it's gonna be what it's gonna be. And that's all I can say. It's just gonna be interesting to keep up with those electoral votes and those swing states and all of that stuff. So here we are. Plus, I'm fortunate to have a day off, so I'll take that as well. Uh, me just been uh, trying to get through this congestion the last week and a half. Crap is still in me, trying to get it out of me, but nevertheless, I'm feeling good. Just nose a little congested, a little. I ain't gonna say it's runny, but it's the mucus is up in there. Not to gross y'all out, but I know it's going around too. That's what they say. All right, what's good with you, Big Bad Wolf?
yeah, the same thing here, man. That mess just seems to linger, but other than that, man, I'm moving along, man. Spoke to Uncle Ron. He said he has some trinkets, ladies, waiting for y'all in the next month or so. Along with that, hopefully I get the book finished. So December should be good for you ladies. Um, we shall see. But other than that, man, the wolf has got nothing going on.
All right. So, hey, we're here for the one reason: the dating minimum wage. And like I said in my promo, many of you say, "What do you mean by dating minimum wage?" Well, when you think about minimum wage, that's the bare minimum that you can make. So, I guess some states is higher than others, and same thing, I guess, with dating. Some people have higher standards, higher stakes, but at the most, uh, what is the bare minimum? And some of the stuff is basic that people are not doing or don't have any consideration uh, of doing. And so when I said about the 9 core standards, hey, we could jump into communication. But Herb, when you think of dating minimum wage and you tie in communication, what does that look like for you?
Before I answer that question, the nine you gave were beautiful, but I'm gonna drop one more in there that's very, very arbitrary, especially for women, more so than it is men, and that's attractiveness. Now I'm gonna answer your question. Communication, what that looks like. between people. And you always talk about the percentages. I'm going to focus on the 7%, the spoken and unspoken. We are in a time period now where texting has seemed to replace phone conversations. And it's understandable. You know, a lot of us have busy lives, or a lot of you have busy lives. My life is really not that busy. I try to keep it kind of simple. But a lot of you have busy lives to where you don't have the time, maybe, to have a phone call 10, 15 minutes. You'd rather spend a minute texting, and that's fine if it's for something quick. But for something that could possibly be misconstrued, why not pick up the phone and call? And see, this is the difference between the bare minimum and minimum wage. For some people, that's okay. You might encounter a person that just likes to text. They don't like to be on the phone. Okay, that's the type of person you are, the type of individual you run into. Cool. You have to understand that about each other. And that's the first thing in communication is being able to tell each other what your likes are, what your dislikes are, what you like to do, what you don't like to do, what makes you tick, and what doesn't make you tick. All too often we hear about love languages, and that's fine. But before you can get to somebody's love language, you actually have to be able to just speak to them, period. Whether you're male or female couple, male couple, and female couple. And I know we don't focus on the latter two, but just for the sake of discussion, because a lot of people simply put, they just don't know how to speak to people, whether it's your tone control, word choice, or how you phrase things. A lot of people simply put, they are just lost. So when you're on a date and you're sitting across the table from another individual, what is your body language communicating? In addition to what your language is saying, are you slouched down? Are you leaning to one side? Are your arms crossed? Or are you sitting there relaxed, composed, eager, head forward, eyes open, maybe your ears, head is tilted one way. So, no, you can't get up there, boy. You all over the place right now. Go. Head tilted so you can show interest. All of those things matter, especially to a person like me, because I'm perceptive and I'm picking up on those things. So we always have people talking, women especially, talking about vibe. What vibe were you getting from the girl? Or what did you sense? And you still want to be up here anyway. So what vibe were you getting? What did you sense from them? Well, the vibe was off. Well, the vibe was off because you're sitting there on your phone doing this. You're not interested in what the individual was saying. So guess what? I wouldn't be interested in talking to you either. So if you're on your phone, you're distracted, you're communicating half-assed, well, what do you expect to get? You're not giving anything. So if you're not giving anything, you're not going to receive anything. And we often hear about reciprocity. That's part of the communication process. You receive a message, download it, transmit back out. And some of you, let's face it, some of you are terrible talkers. You're not engaging. You have nothing to add. You want everything spoon fed to you. And that goes for either gender. Some of you just need to be able to discuss something outside of yourself. And I know they say don't talk about politics and religion, but what if the person across from you actually likes politics? And they don't make it personal. They just like to discuss the things, as David mentioned at the top of the show. You can sit down with an individual and say, hey, what do you think the plight of this country is going to be if Kamala's elected? And they'll say, well, Donald Trump's a racist. That wasn't the question that was asked. He didn't ask about the candidates, or she didn't ask about the candidates. They just asked about the plight of the country if one or the other was elected. So can you actually sit down and have a conversation that is racially charged, politically motivated? Even though I asked about question about politics, I asked about the state of the country. Can we talk about this or can we talk about that? Some of you guys face it. If it isn't sports related, you can't talk about it because you're one dimensional. So, what is a woman who's interested in let's say reality TV, go do with you. And I know, man, we for the most part we don't like those reality TV shows, but it's an end to talking to the individual across from you. So why not diversify who you are, what you can talk about, and the things that she might be interested in order to facilitate the start of dialogue and communication.
Well, and I got some more to add to it, but I can tell you what. I know back in the days in college, me watching all my children, it got me a lot of attention from the ladies, a lot of alone time. So, hey, it works. It works. But to go back on the communication, you know, Herb gave some examples, but again, if you're communicating with someone, you may be giving them regular updates on life events, like what's going on in your world. Um, you can't call yourself dating someone and you got a promotion or got nominated for an award, and then y'all talking, she's like, oh, seemed like you had a busy night, I couldn't reach you. And you're like, oh, I had a award ceremony I had to go to, and I got nominated for this. And she like, huh? Like what? Or vice versa. And you're like, damn, you couldn't tell me that. You couldn't communicate something that was that important. That was a good thing. It's things like that. If you're not updating folks or responsive to messages and calls, if someone texts you and or calls you and it takes you all day to get back, or they give you not too lengthy but a decent response. Again, I always talk about greater than, less than, equal. If someone how you doing, what's going on, I hope you have a good day, and blah blah blah, and you come back with okay, and just leave it at that, that is way less than, and that could be a major turnoff for someone. So I'll always learned that from counseling 101. Greater, less than, equal. If people give you greater, you give them greater. They give you less than, then you may get them less than or equal. But certainly, if they're giving you more feedback and their responses are deeper, or even it could be a phone conversation and they're talking and you got one word answers. Okay, nah, nope, yeah, that's a quick way to, like, I'm about to fucking hang up on this person or whatever. I'm about to blow this conversation. So that's another thing. Um so if somebody, give people what they give you. If somebody always follows back up with you in a timely fashion, and I know sometimes your jobs are busy and your day gets away, but if you're looking at your phone and you see it, just be, if it's somebody you don't want to be bothered with, then that's another thing. And people, you have to pick up on that too. You're saying good morning to someone and um always trying to be pleasant, and they never reach out, or never, if you don't reach out, they don't reach out. If you say, well, I'm not gonna text her, I'm not gonna call her, and 2 3 days go by and you don't hear from them, it's, you're riding on the sinking ship, so you might as well just keep rolling somewhere else. And then also a communication, active listening and engagement. That's
Hmm.
one of the bigger parts of communication, to be an effective listener, and not always listening to reply, but to listen, to understand the content or the context of a conversation. So just keep those pointers in mind. All right.
I want to add something else to that. You said something else, and I just finished writing it down. For people who do like to text, if you had a standard of time in which you would like somebody to reply to your text before you consider it being ignored, let that individual know that. I can't tell you to be quiet if I don't speak to you. Conversely, I can't ask you for more if I don't speak to you. Like David said, that communication is is about reciprocity. Let that individual know what your standard is. Don't expect them to know. Don't think they're going to read your mind because that's not going to happen, especially when you're just starting out. For people who are well established, there should be a benchmark that you should already have with each other. And if you don't, get it.
And there's one more part I want to add to that, clarifying misunderstandings. And heard mentioned a lot of times people are texting and stuff get misconstrued. You should be able to have the fortitude or the ability to say, wait a minute, let me pick up the phone. This is what I meant. I didn't mean it like that. Or if you value that person, you're going to want to clarify and say, I didn't mean to upset you. It wasn't meant to be said like that. But you have some people that say, fuck it. If that's what you want to believe, then that's what you want to believe. If that's what you think, that's what you think. That is that's kind of rude and very insensitive. Uh, Even if somebody misinterprets something, because that happens, but at least have the decency to try to make them understand instead of taking that approach. That ain't what I meant. But if that's how you're gonna take it, then you just take it like that, and then that be the end of it. But you have a lot of people, men and women, and that's their approach, and that doesn't work for everybody.
And let me follow that up with one more nugget. And this is for you fellas. I've mentioned his name before. His name is Dr. Orion, just like the constellation Orion, Taraban, Tariban. He has just a short on why women do not apologize. Please, for your knowledge base, your mental wealth and mental health, pardon me, and welfare, go look into that. You will not regret it, and use it judiciously when you're talking to females and something goes wrong. And you know she's wrong, but she won't apologize. You'll be better off for it.
So why don't they? What did he say? What does he say
I,
about
it gets kind of involved, but he talks, he's similar. Remember what I talked about women's decision making and
uh-huh.
the need for them to be right. It borders on that, and he gets a little deeper because he takes a psychological aspect on it, which he's more than certified to do because he has a degree in psychology. So he talks about it from that aspect too. And what he says is that essentially they don't feel the need to do so because in essence they're not wrong. They're basing a lot of what they say on how they feel about certain things. And we all know, and this just isn't a female attribute. This is also a male attribute, maybe to a little lesser extent. But if we have a feeling and we act upon that feeling without any evidence to the contrary, we're not necessarily wrong. And I know some people will say, no, well, no, you're wrong. No. If I got a feeling that I'm at a location we agreed upon at an agreed upon time, you don't contact me and tell me that you're running late, and I got a feeling that you stood me up, should I stay there 10 minutes? Or should I just say, hey, look, you know what? I plan this on fight night. The boys is out at the crib having some pizza, some wings, and some brews. I might as well cut on out and go join them. Is he wrong? He had a feeling you stood him up. Now you get there 5 minutes later, he's not there. And you thinking he stood you up. So you don't call him. Y'all don't call each other. Y'all don't text each other, nothing. A week passed, you happen to see each other. You say, well, what happened to you? I was there. You weren't there. She says, no, I was there. Oh, no, both of you were there. You just weren't there at the agreed upon time. So as opposed to not picking up the phone, as opposed to not shooting the text, you two mad at each other because somebody was late and they didn't communicate that.
So I wonder if with some women, I guess, and guys too, but we'll just deal with what you had spoke on about them not apologizing. I wonder, is it that many of them feel that they have the upper hand with that guy, and they feel like shit, got two tears in the bucket, fuck it, like that type of mentality. But if it's a guy that you know, he a mover and a shaker. We always talk about options, and options is power. And you know that I better make it right. I better make it right because he's not gonna take too much of my arrogance or disrespect or whatever the case may be. So you may have to bow down. So I wonder if that has a lot to do with it. Even on both sides, some guys may feel that way too. And but if it's a woman that he know, man, I need her. I can't. I gotta have her. Like she's so instrumental to everything that I do. Then he may eat some of that humble pie. A lot of people out here they act like y'all don't like humble pie. I don't know. Maybe they shortening the ingredients or something, or it's something that may taste tart or something. But a lot of people they ain't trying to eat that humble pie, and sometimes you got to eat it with a couple scoops of ice cream.
Yeah. So just be mindful of that. Rocking with women, fellas, because you know, and like I said, number 10, just as David alluded to, options and attractiveness undergirds everything that happens between you two. Everything.
All right, so we'll move along to emotional support. So, Big Bad Wolf, tell us what does emotional support look like in bare minimum wage dating?
Woo! Now this is gonna be tricky because some people require a lot, some people require very little. And once again, if you don't speak to that individual about the things that individual has been through, is going through, or future tense might go through, you are never going to know what that person's level of emotional support is. Dave and I have had a numerous amount, and Omega Supreme is in this category now. We have had family members that have transitioned. We don't know until that event occurs how that individual is going to deal with that kind of loss. Some of us want space. Some of us want proximity to loved ones. We don't know until we ask when that situation arises. And when it does, don't take it personal. Everybody, I don't care who you are, internalizes something at some particular point in time. And that's a human trait. But you have to be able to learn to control how you respond to certain things. Because it may not even be about you. This individual may have just encountered this particular situation for the first time, so they don't know how to navigate it. For men, because we're task oriented, I will say this: listen. And when you're done listening, listen some more. And if there's nothing but dead air, make your ignorance known. Let that female know. Say, hey, look, I don't know what it is you need. I don't know how to provide it for you. I'm here. You have my phone number. And then you guys may be friends. This may be a relative, might be a coworker that you're cool with. Just say, hey, you know where I am? You have my phone number. Whatever you think I might be able to provide for you, ask or let me know. Because sometimes we're not going to be able to solve people's problems. And we have to accept that, not as a shortcoming, but as a realization that, hey, that's something that I have not developed yet. That might be something I need to work on. And the moment you do that, the moment that you admit that there's something that you don't know how to do or you can't do or you need to learn how to do, guess what? You become more powerful because that's something else you understand you need to develop. And once you develop something, guess what? It's always a part of your toolkit. And I mention the toolkit often on this platform because everybody needs to have some basic things that you should be able to do, especially as we get older, because the older we get, the more circumstances we've encountered. Usually that's how that goes. That's what they call wisdom. Some of us have more than others. Some of us utilize the wisdom we have on a daily basis. Get there, develop it. And like I said, don't try to solve her problems. Now, women, you need to understand intrinsically that men are not going to open up to you the way you want them to. And there's a very specific reason why. We're not you. Stop trying to make men women. Okay? Because if we become women, guess what? You're not going to want us. You're not going to want to be around us. And you're going to think we're not dependable. Because every time you come around, we're trying to offload on you. And it's like a man, it's like a female sitting across from you, except he has gonads and a penis. You don't want that. You want a man, even when he's not steady, he appears steady. He gives up that aura of confidence that he's unshakable. He's the rock of Gibraltar. Nothing can phase him. And you know what? Outwardly, that might be true. That might be what he projects. But you know what? When he gets around his boys, he's like, yo, man, I don't know what to do. I got the situation and it's wearing me out. I'm short on cash. My girl's pregnant. My life is falling apart. What do I do? Men have those moments. They may not communicate them to you, but they communicate them to somebody. So if your man, like I said about you, so if your man is feeling distant, give him the space. He'll come around. I guarantee you, he'll come around when he feels like he's capable, when he's not as vulnerable to his own self. And then you guys can get back to going down the road together. You're still going down the road together. You just might be sitting in the back seat while you're sitting up in the front seat driving, but he's still in the car.
So that part reminded me. Now I'm gonna make reference to a movie.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and it's not the Titanic. Everybody, it's around that time too. Back years ago, The Best Man Holiday, when what's his name? Harper was having, the financial issues, and they were out, and his card was getting declined, and he hadn't wrote a book in a while. His wife was pregnant, and he was struggling, and it was a very touching part in there when Q, and Q was a jerk, but he knew that his boy needed some money, and and he kind of told him that, like, I got you. You're gonna be all right. You're gonna be all right. And then, of course, sometimes you have to have a little humor to kind of ease over the situation when somebody's going through a tough time. And he said, "So all you gotta do, just call me daddy. Just call me daddy." And so they both laughed, but he gave Harper the sense of, like, like he felt relief. like, okay, my man got me. He got it, and he's gonna look out, and everything's gonna be all right. Because when you walking around as a man and you don't have it, and you have nowhere to turn, and a woman is on your back, and if you got kids, they're on your back, and you have nowhere to turn because you're too prideful, it could be that could be a quite a bit of an emotional roller coaster. Uh, the ups and downs and stuff, and the highs and the lows. So that's important as far as emotional support too. So you want to validate people feelings,
Hmm.
give them empathy. And a lot of times people get empathy confused with sympathy. And sympathy is when you feel sorry for someone. That a lot of people, and it irks me to no end when people go on social media and say, "Oh, just pray for me, whatever. Don't ask no questions, but just pray." Who the hell you think somebody just gonna be praying or put something really deep into it? I know the quickest thing is for y'all to throw up them prayer hands and all that stuff, but in real world, you want to know what you praying for, and
Hmm.
because you might add a little extra to it, or you may have some insight to say, "Listen, I got the answer. Oh, you concerned about that? Hold on. Let me make a few phone calls. And we can make things happen." Because I guess people who believe in a mystery God will pray and pray and pray and hope something drop from the sky. But people who believe they got the potential to be God or gonna make movements like God, then they're gonna try to put some action in place. But that irks me when people do that. Don't ask no questions. Just pray. Nah, you won't get my black hands up in there. I'll stroll down and keep it moving because people need to people need to know. People simply need to know. So, like I said, the sympathy is when you feel sorry for someone. When you're looking for that. Oh, poor guy, so sad, and all that. And empathy is to feel with you. Like, I understand what you went through. I went through that about a month ago. I lost a loved one. Hey, a couple years ago, I lost a job, and I know it was tough. And that's the type of language people like. Okay, so you've been through it, and then they kind of open up and they give you more. But when you're doing a oh, no one really wants. There is people who want sympathy, but empathy is always over sympathy. So keep that in mind. Also, support during stressful times. I think Herb kind of touched on that. Like, you have to be able to recognize and understand. Like, I mean, if you're just now dating someone, you might not know when they're stressed out. They might not give you those signs. Excuse me, but that's all the more reason to pay attention to people. Because remember, I'd heard mention that about the percentages when I always talk about the 55-38-7 rule. And 55% is the body language. You may know people may do certain things that like, yeah, they really pissed, or something's bothering them, or they're stressed out. You have to pay attention to that. So 55% is body language, 38% is the tone. So you may know by their tone, like, that tone is a little off. That's not how they normally sound. And then 7% is actual words spoken. So you have to get to that ability, and that will require you to pay attention to that person. But if you're not interested in someone, you're never going to pay attention to anything. You're going to miss it like it's nothing. Encouragement and motivation, basic stuff that sometimes you have people that's self-centered and all they do is think about themselves. So they're not around to encourage and motivate others. And some people, it may be hard to do that because they're not used to receiving any of that. They
Mhm.
grew up with negative words told to them. They have pretty much grew up in a negative environment. So by you trying to, motivate and encourage them, they might not understand it or take it
Yeah.
at first until if you step away and then they realize, like, damn, I let a good thing go. Like that person was all they was trying to do is be there for me, and I gave them attitude and would like kind of get off my shit, like quit asking me questions, like I want to be left alone. Well, you say that. Be careful what you ask for. You say that
Mhm.
too many times to a person, they're gonna give you that,
Yeah.
and they're gonna be gone, and you may have regrets. You may chase that silver bullet and think you're gonna find a replacement, but that's why we're all unique and different in our own ways. So there's no replacements or no clones. So if you blow it because of shit you went through in the past, then that's on you.
There's also an article. I just want to add this in there that I downloaded about 20 pages, and it talks about how to show emotional support, and it lists a lot of the things that David and I, have just talked about. It also talks about how to ask for it, what that looks like, um, what that can come across as. There's a litany of things, and it's from Medical News. Let me make sure I get this correct. Medical News Today. So if you're interested or more interested in learning about emotional support, how to be more emotionally supportive, and more importantly, how to receive it. Because as David said, sometimes we come from families where that is not practiced. So it should not be expected for anyone to know something that they've never been introduced to. It's another language. And if this is a language that you've never heard spoken, you've never seen in action, ask. Ask an individual honestly, no bullshit. Don't be out here being disingenuous. Ask him, hey, why do you do this? And more importantly, when you ask that question, ask it this way: why do you do this for me? Now, some people will say, that sounds a wee bit selfish. That sounds a little bit conceited. That sounds like I'm thinking it's all about me. And why should you not? Unless you know this individual does it for everyone. And even if they do it for everyone, they may have a different rationale for doing it for you. So ask. Because when people give you the time and attention, that's really a gift. That's the ultimate gift. You know why? Because they can never get that back. I can give you money all day. And you know what? I don't even think about it. I gave so and so $20. Why you do that? It's just money. Some people would rather give you money because they know what? You know what? They know you're going to go away. They would rather give you $100 than sit there and talk to you for 15 minutes. That's the nature of life, and that's how much people value certain things over others. A lot of people value time more than they do money. They'll pay you to go away. It's just like the movie. It's just like the movie A Bronx Tale. When I can't remember the his character's name. When he's chasing a dude down the street, he says, "Yo, why are you chasing after him?" He says, "He owes you $2." He says, "Just think about it. You paid that man $2 to get out of your life. He's never gonna bother you again." We watch these movies that David alluded to, but we don't take the messaging to heart that's put in these movies. And that's often why sometimes we end up banging our heads against the same brick wall. It's because we don't heed the message that's been sent to us. Messages come in a lot of different ways. And we won't know until we actually open up the third eye and say, you know what? That's the message that the universe is trying to send me. I need to start paying better attention. I need to start being more receptive to that method of communication.
Then it's couple more to go on as far as the emotional support. Respect for boundaries. Got to
Mm.
respect people boundaries. You can't violate their space. You can't be too overwhelming, and you know what that is. Respect for boundaries where shit, somebody ain't answer their phone. Uh, they may have been, what's that?
Football.
A football. Okay. Uh, uh, they could have fell asleep, but next thing you know, you're at their door. Uh, because in your head, that means they got something else going on. So you just had to pull up just to see. And again, it might have been that time, like Herb mentioned, like far as the other component of emotional support, they may just shut down at the time. They may have a rough day at work. And just like, okay, whenever I come around, I just need like an hour or something just to watch ESPN or something. Then I'll get around to calling. I don't feel like talking about it right now. Well, if you never been in that movie before with them, then you wouldn't know. But it doesn't mean for you just to pop up and just violate. Uh, and I know it's hard for some people, but you just have to learn to respect people boundaries or to keep calling over and over and over and over again and leave it. WTF, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And all of that stuff, whatever, and leaving tons of messages and all of that. That's just, you probably exposing yourself during those times. Uh, so respect people boundaries. I could go further into it, but I'm not. And then celebrating milestones. Certain things mean a lot to people. I know. I just went through it in September, where my sister had a whole month long celebration for her birthday, along with the other Virgos in her crew. And certain milestones mean a lot to people. I guess just because you don't do it like that, don't mean you have to be cold hearted and kind of dismissive. I'm not one. I always say I like to celebrate accomplishments. Uh, so I rather have a party or something because shit, I got a degree, another degree, or I got a big promotion on the job, or you know, I'm relocating or something to that effect. But some people like other certain milestones. They like the
Mhm.
fact that they're alive and it's another year. Or maybe they didn't have those opportunities growing up that no one really celebrated during their younger years, uh, their birthdays and stuff. So when they got older, they always said, "I'm going to celebrate myself." So I always, I'm going to take my little pot shots at the Virgos because it seemed like to me they just do way too much. But I'll take my pot shots. But at the end of the day, when it's an event and I can make it and be there, then I'll celebrate right along with them. Or if I can't be there, then make sure that I, give them something in my regards. But understand that in relationships too. And this is right around the time that things get kind of little sketchy for
Mhm.
some when you start dating because it's the holiday season and people want to know, oh, are we celebrating Christmas? Are we buying gifts? What are we doing? And you may be someone to say, nah, I don't mess around with that. It's a pagan holiday. It's all commercialized. But that other person, they may be all into it. They might be shopping up something, and y'all just got started. Well, I guess if you want to go to my old rule, I could give y'all the breakdown on the price range. Uh, It's never been too well received, but just to be on the safe side, here it goes again. 0 to 3 months, $25. So that might get you a gift card or something. Uh, 3 to 6 months, maybe 50. 6 to 9, uh, you might extend out to like maybe, I don't know, 50 to 75. Then a year or more, then you might spend over 100. That's just to be on the safe side. I mean, but if you say, what the hell can I do with $25? Not much, but it's the thought that counts. Maybe you could put some gas in your car. Maybe you can get lunch. Uh something. It's just the thought that counts, right? But we know
Hey,
that people have different thought processes about that, but I guess that's something that should be discussed. Like, okay, what's really gonna happen here? We've been dating for 2 months. Don't expect me to go out spending $200-300, but that person may do it. And now, shit, they came over, y'all exchanged gifts, and they giving you $200 worth of stuff, 300, and you got that $25 gift card. I don't know. I don't know how you pull that one off or how you feel about it, but it happens. But you know the biggest problem is because people talk too much and they go back and tell people. So in women, I'm saying women, because that's something y'all do. You go out with your girlfriends, your sister, and all that. Well, I want to go shopping. I got my bonus for my job, so I want to go get Melvin something. And you buying up shit. Then, of course, they're gonna want to know what what he got you, and you have to report back that $25 gift card. You know you're gonna hear it. You know it. It's just a
all day.
matter of time. So therefore, shit, do things dolo. Don't tell everybody what you're doing or
Yeah.
what you bought and what you got for that person. Because if it's not reciprocated on the other end, you gonna look like the damn fool.
Mhm.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, to follow that up, you got learn how to take your wins and losses in private. And I mean that literally and figuratively. Literally, I don't think that needs any explanation, but I'll offer one. Like Dave said, you got a bonus. You got a $400 or $500 bonus. Why are you telling people? Put that in your stash pot for a rainy day, or go and buy yourself a new pair of shoes, or whatever it is that you want to do. And you don't have to tell anybody about it. Number two, figuratively, don't run to social media every time something good happens. Because I assure you that if you contracted an STD or an STI, you wouldn't be telling anybody, would you? Treat your good news the same way. Sometimes you just have to keep shit to yourself. Have that inner glow about you. Somebody say you're walking a little taller today. You got a little more spring in your step. Your gait's a little wider. No, no, I'm just having a good day. Just, you know, they say you never have good days. Yeah, well, this is one of those. I'm just having a good day. So learn to keep your shit off of social media, especially women. As David just said, y'all guilty of this more so than men. And for men that do it, stop behaving like a bitch. Keep your shit up. So we had stop behaving like a bitch, man. Keep your shit up on social media. You know, sometimes, like David said, less is more. I rarely post now. I post a thought of mine on social media on average once, maybe every 2 weeks. I'm sharing more content from other people than I actually ever am of myself. It's just the way I am. And for people who are just starting out, if that's something you want to know about somebody, ask. Matter of fact, and I'll borrow this from Annette. Shout out to Annette. She's always talked about having a private investigator. researching people before you deal with them. If you got to go the Kevin Durant route and create yourself an ulterior, an alternative account, whether it's for TikTok, Facebook, or whatever website, do that and follow people you have an interest in, men for women, women for men, and whatever other case presents itself, and follow them. Matter of fact, if they have a follow feature, some people have accounts that enable followers. Follow them and see what they talk about. Why not? It's an inexpensive way for you to weed out or include people in certain things of yours. Just an FYI and a tip.
As you can see, eh, again, we always say things seem simple, but it's the little basic stuff that causes people to fold
Mhm.
or don't last or can't get past a certain time frame, because all of this stuff is the minimum wage type stuff that I guess we you should know, but a lot of you wouldn't know if you never saw it or if it was never taught to you or you never seen any positive relationships or how a man should be treated or how a woman should be treated. So it could be brand new knowledge to some.
Mm-hmm.
It just don't happen that you wave a magic wand and you know how to be a perfect wife or
Yeah.
you know how to be the perfect husband. It takes work. It takes patience. Uh, it takes um, finding resources or different people who seem to have the golden ticket to success in that area. It's work required. You got to be willing to put in that work. So let's move on with effort. That was
Mm.
timely, and sometimes effort is it's what you put in and what you put out. Herb, effort in a bare minimum wage relationship. What does that look like?
Well, it looks like a math problem. Third grade math. 50 plus 50 equals 100. 60 plus 40 equals 100. But 100 plus 100 equals 200. So which one of those math problems do you like? You want to give 40%, but you're expecting somebody to give 60? You giving 50, so you want the other person to give 50? Or you giving it your all, so you want the other person to give it their all? Well, let's break that down for a moment. You go out on a date, first date. You go to a high-end restaurant. The bill comes. Do you say, no, 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 I got that? Or do you start doing a line item assessment of who had what and who's going to pay for what? For some women, that's a turnoff. And for a lot of younger men, you know what? They don't have it. But that's how they roll. And they say, hey, look, I knew I was on the budget. As David said about the gift card. We only known each other for less than 3 months. You only get 25 out of me. you, you only get 25 out of me. Excuse me. So, what's your next move? Excuse me. What is your next move? Do you say, okay, you know what? I had $65 worth of food. I had a couple of beverages. We split the appetizer. I had the the surf and turf, the baked potato, because some restaurants you go, all that stuff is individually priced. So you get the surf and turf, but you got to pay for the two sides. And then you cancel this individual on social media. You say, I'll never go out with this individual again. This cheap so and so. Well, damn. He gave 50%. That's the math he's working with. That's the math that he wants you to work with until you've proven yourself to him. And someone might say, well, what do I need to prove to him? You need to show you're going to give 100 before this individual gives 100. Now, let's add a.
Hold on. Before you
Okay.
go, you already know the formula for that. At least make me a damn sandwich or something, or offer me a damn sandwich when I come by. And I know that sounds Sherman Clumpish, but it's just the thought that count. Like, damn, could you make a brother a sandwich or something? Are you that thoughtful? Or saying, hey, babe, did you eat anything? Nah, I mean, I was working all day. I'm about to run here and grab this. Oh, no. Just stop by, whatever. I made you a few things. Can you do that?
Yeah.
That'll go a
See,
long way.
I was just going to say that. Women don't realize that most men, regardless of their economic situation, if you give them a little something, they will return that tenfold. And what I mean by that is this. Let's take David's scenario. And let's say it's a guy you just met. You don't really know him that well. He texts you. What did you eat tonight? Now you may have cooked. You may have put a steak on the grill if that's your thing, or fish or whatever it is. You might be vegetarian, whatever the case it is. You text him back, well, I just finished this, yada yada yada. He said, oh man, I hadn't ate tonight. I was trying to figure out where to go, what to eat. I just wanted to grab a quick something. And you know what you say? Hey, look, I don't have a whole lot, but you're welcome to it. Come through. This is my address. He comes through. Next week, he might get out of work early. He shoots you a text. Have you ate? You say, no, I don't have the opportunity to cook. He says, good. Get showered, get dressed, because it's gonna take you a little bit. I'm gonna come through about 6:30. I made reservation at this little joint. I'm gonna come through, pick you up, my treat. See, women, you guys have to understand how to get to a man, especially the one you want. But some of y'all will give up the guts before you give up them ducats. Failing to realize that you want a secure man. You want a secure man for more than a night. But you thinking the way to do that is through sex. And I'm here to tell you, for some men, that's not even bare minimum. That's not even minimum wage. That's just par for the course. That's suborbital thinking, if you will. That's lowbrow thinking that that's all he wants. He might be looking for a perspective long term. And when you do things like that, you put yourself in a different category than most women. Because most women, A, can't cook, B, don't want to cook, and C, ain't thinking about nobody else.
Said they can't cook.
I'm here to tell you, a lot of listen. Why do you think DoorDash and Uber Eats are in business? They ain't taking record. They ain't turning record profits for nothing. They ain't turning profits for nothing. Some of these women just don't cook for whatever reason. Either they were never taught, they never took the opportunity to learn, or they don't care. Well, I can always call Uber Eats. Okay, call Uber Eats.
Well,
This is why this is why you always hear about cash at me this so I can go get this. You never hear about them saying, hey, come pick me up so I can go grocery shopping so I can get some food in the house. Take me grocery shopping so I can grab some stuff, because I know you like boxing. I know you like football. Come through. I got a spread set up. I got some beer. I know you boys, you like to drink this. I got some Ciroc on ice. because my new thing now is, if people haven't figured it out, is pineapple Ciroc, and I'll get into why a little later. Yes, I picked up a new drink, and it's rare for me. I'm expanding my palate as I kind of grow older. Then I'll tell the story as soon as I finish this point. Do that, women. So if you spend, let's say you spend $40, it's fight night. You spend $40, pizza, wings, or whatever, but you make the wings yourself. You drum up some sauce, drop them in there. Your man get there a little early. Say, yo, where you get these from? You say, I made those. Those are chez moi. Guess what? She's gonna say, okay. She can do a few things in the kitchen. I can work with her. Now, it might be that 3 month time period that Dave spoke about earlier. Guess what? He's gonna tear up the budget. He's gonna say, she's worth something. She put 100% effort into it. I'm a reward her. I'm gonna go out and get her a $150 gift. And whatever that is, that might be that perfume that you wanted. That might be that nice dress you wanted. That might be a play you wanted to go see. It could be a number of things. He was listening actively to the conversations you guys were having, and he knew you wanted to go see a certain place, so he scored tickets. And guess what he did in addition to score tickets? He went out and got you a nice little number to wear with a nice little pair of shoes. You're sitting up front. That's what 100 looks like. So if you want 100, give 100. But if you only give it 40, only expect 60. That's that math. Go ahead. Let me tell the Ciroc story. September, me and my brothers, male family members. Sorry, women, you weren't invited. We went to a cabin in Ohio called Deer Lake, I think it was. And I'm off 4 or 5 days. Now I normally don't drink, certainly like that. And there wasn't anything there that I wanted to drink. So I'm sitting around looking for something, that's okay. Not going to necessarily knock me out if I drink too much. And I seen the pineapple Ciroc. That's it. Pineapple. Yeah, pineapple's a good taste. Let me try that. There was some lemonade there, man. I think the bottle was probably about a third to maybe 2/5 full. Yeah. There wasn't much left by the time I got done with it. And my brothers, knowing me, they said, Herb drinking? They said, oh, shit, man. We in trouble. Yeah, so I put a hurting on that bottle, man, and went to sleep. And they still out there partying, carrying on, drinking their beer. And I woke up about 2 o'clock in the morning, I think it was. I said, "Oh yeah, let me get some water in me." I said, "I feel that little monster starting to creep up." I said, "So let me throw down some water." I drank some water, went outside and sat down for a bit, let that cool air get over me. I said, "All right, I'm okay." But I didn't drink much more the rest of the time there. But pineapple Ciroc now is one of my little things. So if I'm going out, I'm looking for it. If that isn't there, then I fall back on my Bombay Sapphire. That juniper and that's strong, but it's good. So that's the Ciroc story.
Make sure I have that pineapple Ciroc. Make sure I have it. Yeah, it's again. We always talk about mathematics, greater than, less than, equal. All that stuff is important in relationships. So that small gesture of calling him over, making him a sandwich, or giving him like, this is what I have left, whatever. Why spend your money? You could just come by here. And I'm not saying somebody you just started talking to like 2 days. You may be a couple months into it, 2-3 months into it, that hopefully you didn't get him on Craigslist or something, that you have a a better dating mechanism or something that you like, okay, I know his family, I know some of his people. Uh I've seen him around. He seems to be okay. It's nothing wrong with him stopping by, getting a plate. He may not want to come in. He may just come to the it may be in the summertime. He may just step on the porch, whatever, and y'all sit there and talk for a while, plate in aluminum foil, whatever, and y'all talk for a little bit. Then he like, I'm gonna call you when I get home, and I appreciate you, and that can go a long way, because maybe the last person he dealt with would never do anything like that. Uh, Never thought about it, and he like, man, she a little different. She different from what I'm used to. So now you winning.
Mhm.
You winning. Now he paying more attention to you, and seeing the little things that you do, the kindness from your heart. And he like, oh, she got it. She got that it factor. She understands it. Like that's sometimes is a deal breaker on why some men deal with some women, and they may not be the finest one. It may be someone with a better frame or look better in the face or whatever. But I can't speak for everyone, but sometimes them people, when they have a nasty disposition and all that, that kills the physical attraction or the physical connection, because you like, I can't stand her ass secretly, whatever. Just the way she carry on and the way she put off. So, yeah, I wonder when we always talk about sometimes people travel the path of least resistance, uh, dealing with someone who not trying to stress you out. They trying to make things a little easier for you. But then you had this fine ass. You're like, damn, but she trying to put you through hell and back. You didn't work 10 hours and she still, I ain't eat. Oh, you ain't we ain't going out to eat today? Nah, I worked over. Shit, I'm tired. I'm really just trying to get home, trying to grab something and shit, go to bed and gotta get back up at it. She never satisfied. But then you had that person that's like, oh, you've been working all day. Like, I thought about you. And if you had time, stop by. I got
Mhm.
something for you to eat. Because I know food, restaurant food and all that shit ain't what it used to be. And I know that you ain't about to really make nothing. And so I thought about you. You were on my mind. Wow. It's a
Yeah.
big difference. Just think about it. Whew. All right, where we at? Where we at? Still stuck. I mean, it's still some more points far as effort. Uh and we'll finish it off. If we have to have a part two, that's okay. Uh Planning surprises and small gestures. Again, the small things. Little things lead to big things. It's just the small gestures. A card, uh, edible arrangement or something at the job. Uh, any little thing. If he likes football, sports, you may see something with his favorite team on. Like, oh, I thought about you. I was out and I seen this Dallas Cowboys skull cap or something.
Yes, sir.
And I thought about you and I was like, oh, it's getting cold. Uh, this cute. He'll probably like this. And you pick it up. Little things, small gestures mean a lot to people. That's you hold on to those memories. What else? What else? Showing interest in each other's passions. You can't be lopsided in this. everything can't be your way. So sometimes you gotta give a little. So if they say, "Hey, I want to do a wine tasting," or "I want to go to this play," or "I like to go to this art museum," may have to bend. Can't always be sports related. Fight night, football Sunday. You may have to say, "All right, I'm gonna do that. Uh, I'm gonna make it happen." Or you may have to look into something in regards to that to say, "You know what? I'm gonna shock her. I'm gonna surprise her, and I'm gonna get these tickets, and we gonna do this or do that." Bare minimum stuff that could go a long way.
And I'm gonna give you fellas just a little bit of Uncle Ron wisdom. You already know how I like my football, how I get down. But let's say there's this particular jeune fille that I'm feeling, and she wants to shit test me. She wants to see if I'm really about it when it comes to Sundays. So she calls intentionally. She calls and says, "Look, I know football's on next week, but I want us to go here and do this." She picks out a Sunday, specifically a Sunday. Like I said, she shit testing me. And you know your boys is playing for first place. You know, it could be the Steelers versus Ravens, the Cowboys versus the Giants, or in this case now, the Redskins or the Washington Commanders. You say, hey, you know what? I'll make you a deal. How about we don't do it this Sunday, we do it this Sunday? And she says, okay. What you fellas have to understand is there's always a way for you to win. But in order for you to do that, you have to be willing, like Dave said, you have to be willing to compromise. So you give up the Sunday when you know your boys is playing a scrub squad. It's gonna be a blowout. That's the Sunday you choose. It's a throwaway Sunday. Because you got your phone with you anyway. And if you really need to, just dip out into the bathroom 5 minutes later, hop on ESPN.com or CBS.com or whatever the case it is, check the score, come back. That's not hard. But you have to be willing to do that. There's other apps out there too where you can live stream the radio version of it if you want to. So let's say you're going to that play I talked about earlier. It's on a Sunday. Now you ain't paying attention to the play because you don't give a damn about the play. You there for her. She's enjoying it. You got your Bluetooth in and you're rocking to the audio of the game. You in game. I'm just telling you what Uncle Ron told me to do. This is not a big bad wolf thing because the wolf don't think like that. The wolf is like, nah, I ain't doing it. But Uncle Ron do. But Uncle Ron's only 34. See, Uncle Ron thinks like this because Uncle Ron really ain't kind of on the market. Uncle Ron is just out here trying to shop his wares and see what works because Uncle Ron's trying to develop a business for himself where he support the ladies. So that's what he does. So I'm just giving you some words from the young gun. Take it or leave it.
Right. So this is a big one too. Meeting each other, friends and family, as far as effort, is big. And sometimes you have to take time to do it, especially if you did research on or you understand. If you're from a small town and you kind of know their family, more than likely, yeah, somehow it's a connection. But if that's not the case, uh, you have to be ready. You may have to school them on. You're gonna come over here. You're gonna get some back. It's gonna be some backlash. It's gonna be somebody say something out of pocket. Uh, and even with like basic friends, uh, it's gonna be somebody who may have some negative feedback or their body language gives off something, but I guess it's the effort that you put out that at least let that person know that I value you and I want you to meet my boys, my friends, my immediate family. And how do you go about it? Something you have to do. And maybe if you're kind of a shy type of person, you may like, I really don't want to go around and meet someone else's family. But if you're really trying to move forward, eventually that's going to have to be the case.
Yeah, and we're at that time of year too where family gatherings, they're going to occur, whether you like them or not, don't want to participate in them or not. They're here. And the next, we're looking at November 4th right now, in about 23 days. Guess what? Thanksgiving's here. And for my Canadian peoples, guess what? Thanksgiving has already happened. So, you know, might be dealing with a cross-border romance. You might be dealing with a international romance. So you might be dealing with a woman or a man who, in their culture, you have to meet the parents. You have to meet the siblings. And for the brothers out there, you got to meet her female relatives. They're going to give her the stamp of approval. And for her, that's pretty much everything. So gird yourself, be ready, and don't intend to be impressive. I know how that sounds. What do you mean don't intend to be impressive? I want to knock their boots off. Don't. Like David always says, and I'm going to reiterate, less is more. If you're not confident, and I mean supremely confident, don't go in there cracking jokes. Don't go in there and try to be the life of the party. Go in there, play low key. And you know what? Offer to help. You know why? Because that might set you apart from every other person she's ever dealt with. It shows initiative, and it also lets them know that you're not lazy. And I know that sounds counterintuitive. Who's going to show up at somebody's house offering to help? Especially the guy in the kitchen. The first thing you're going to ask is, can he cook? And if she says yes, guess what? You got an additional mark on your side. You got additional mark in your ledger. They're going to say, okay. And guess what the next question is going to be? They're going to ask him, has he cooked for you? And if you're good, she's going to say, oh, yeah, I go to his house twice a week because I know he cooks. I don't have to cook. That's part of that 100. 100. She's showing up hungry 100% of the time. You making sure she's fed 100% of the time. And guess what else she might make sure you're fed? Yeah, you guessed it. She's going to make sure you're fed. All this stuff works. But sometimes you have to be willing to take the initiative of putting yourself out there. And if they say, New York, babe, I got it. Go in there, sit down with the family. Guess what? You've done what you're supposed to do. See, sometimes we tend to overanalyze things. We tend to think we have to do a whole lot of something to be noticed. And sometimes the only thing you need to be noticed is to do something different. And it might be a little something. You might go grab her coat, which she didn't ask. You say, we getting ready to go? Yeah. Go grab her coat. Hey, guess what? You in a place where it's a snowy climate. You know one of her family members is getting ready to leave. Go get dressed. Go outside, clean the car off. You ain't got to start it. Just clean the car off. Guess what? They gonna walk up there and say, "Yo, who cleaned my car off?" You say, "Oh, I did." Well, why you did that? No particular reason. They don't know. They don't have to know what motivated you to do something. Like I said, the average person is not going to ask what motivated you to do that. They're just gonna say, "Oh shit, all right, good looking out." Yo, he all right. He cleaned my car off. Simple, easy things that require some effort, not a great deal of effort, go a long way towards getting you recognized. This is why you have people who break up, who in relationships, but their family holds that other individual in high regard. They say, I don't know why you broke up with him. I don't know why you broke up with her. They were always looking out for you. They always did things and you never asked and you never reciprocated. You never even acknowledged the fact that they did these kind of things. All of a sudden now people start looking at you like you're the problem because you never reciprocated, you never show gratitude, and dare I say you're becoming the asshole now. People just say, you know what? I know why you can't find to keep a man, or I know why you can't find to keep a woman. It's because you ain't shit.
It's so much.
You good? I can hear you.
Yeah, there's so much to it. I know in some cases, there's some guys that'll say, "Damn," they look at you like you're the apple of their eye,
Hmm.
and they in any function they want you to be, uh, you know, side by side with them. And they may have that type of crew that it's always something going on. Every weekend, we'll never say we're bored. We always got something to do. And if you're someone that's not receptive, like, oh my God, like, am I your trophy or whatever the case? No. Eh, well, you could be, but also he values and you give him a certain jolt that he likes. Like, hey, me and my woman out. We here for it, and he likes to showcase you.
Yeah.
And instead of taking that in a bad way, you should relish and enjoy the time because oftentimes people complain, oh, they're bored. And you know, my theory is when you get a certain age, you bored. There's too much shit to do to say you're bored. But sometimes you may have someone that has family and friends that shit out of four weekends out of the month, at least two or three of them may be filled with different activities
Hmm.
that they got going on. So you can always be on the go and always have something to do. But once you start declining that and like uh um and being indifferent, then you probably find your way on the chopping blocks.
Yeah.
Somebody will like to step in that role and be on the side with him. And you just got to think about how you present yourself and how you come off. So that's important too. There's so much to this, and I think we're going to cover the last one, respect. I think it's going to be a part two, uh, and this one is respect. Now everybody talks about this respect thing. Everybody wants respect. Do everybody know how to give it?
Right.
So I'm going to lean on you again, the big bad wolf. What does respect look like in a minimum wage relationship?
You mentioned boundaries earlier. That is huge. and I can't underscore huge, huge like huge silo, huge. You have individuals, unfortunately, for the people they're involved with, who will not communicate what their boundaries are until after they're breached. Highly unfair, highly disadvantageous to the people that you're dealing with. This is why I always tell people, look, these are my non negotiables. These are what will send me, into orbit, and lay those things out. I know, what if an individual tries to take advantage of you and they try to breach those things on purpose? Well, you have a decision to make. If the individual is trying intentionally to piss you off, and you know this beyond a shadow of a doubt is not a mistake, it's not a misjudgment, then get rid of them. Why would you want someone who A is going to violate you and your boundaries intentionally, and B, why would you want them around so they can piss you off? That's the easy thing. Get rid of them. Just say, you know what? I told you up front that I didn't like that kind of behavior. Don't give them no second chance. Send their ass packing. Ejection seat. Send them out. Because at this junction of life, at our age, if you have to tell people about behaviors that you know they should have, then you're wasting your time. That's just my opinion. You can take it differently. You can slide it differently because I know people will say, well, earlier you said that there might be some things that an individual has never encountered that they don't know about and is not in their toolkit. You're absolutely right. I did say that. But if you tell them ahead of time about something and they do it anyway, they're not respecting what you told them. They're not respecting your boundaries. They're not respecting your autonomy. I should not have to tell an individual not to pick up my phone. So if I catch you with my phone in your hand and I didn't ask you to bring it to me, you violated. I'm not asking no questions. I'm not asking what you're doing. I don't care. You're gone. Bye. You violated. What you got my phone in your hand for? It rang. Okay, let it ring. It said boss. Okay, let it ring. It said emergency contact. Okay, let it ring. Unless you've been given that permission, don't touch his phone. Don't touch her phone. I don't care what flashes on the screen. I don't care if he or she is sleeping. I don't care if they're at your house. That's a boundary. Don't touch it. It's like the U.S. mail. Don't open nobody's mail. I don't care if it's not. I don't care who it's addressed to. If it's not addressed to you or care of, don't open it. Don't touch it. Period. It requires no explanation. That's a boundary. Now, let's move into another realm of what respect looks like. You know this individual goes to bed 9:30 sharp because they start their day early. They get up about 4:30 to get their workout on, make something to eat, they go to work. But you're a night owl. So you tend to go to bed about 11 o'clock because you don't get up till about 7. You ain't got to be to work till 9. And you constantly texting in or calling. And you get mad when they don't reply. So when you catch up to them, you say, I text you routinely at 10 o'clock and you never respond till the next morning. Are you out doing something? Who you with? You're violating because you know that person go to bed at 9 o'clock. But here you are fishing, trying to cause some commotion, and you ain't apologized because that individual, you know, clockwork. They're like the sunrise and sunset. And you out here accusing them of something they ain't doing. You violating. That's another aspect. Those are just Two aspects of what respect look like. Now, let's because that can be ambiguous. So let's look at it from a female perspective. You got with this chick knowing she has a ladies' night once a month. Her and the girls get dressed. They go out, they paint the town. Just once a weekend, no set weekend. And you come over, you scoping out the spot. It's 12 o'clock, her car ain't there. You swear she out creeping. But one partner, why you outside her house like that anyway? Ain't you got some business? Shouldn't you be sleeping? Maybe you should be out with the fellas too. Because before she met you, she had a life. And if that's what she does, is she's communicated that to you, then hey, accept that. Stop creeping around her residence, thinking she out doing something. Well, she told you once a month. That's what her and her girls do. And you know what? They may not go out. They may go out to each other's house. They might, get their little wine, their little finger foods, and they might sit there and they might shoot the breeze. They might talk about reality TV, pop the balloon, dancing with the stars, the real house, whatever it is they do. That's what they do. That's her guilty pleasure. She's a good girl. She ain't out there showing her wares in the bar, getting top. Well, I'm sorry, pop. But you can't trust her because all your prior relationships have been fucked up because you chose fucked up women. She's told you, man, let her be. One week, one weekend. I'm sorry, one night out of the month. She ain't hurt nobody. She's coming back home anyway. But no, you want to call her friends. Where we at? Giving her the third degree. She's like, yo, this dude is crazy. I can't fuck with him.
Hmm.
I told him once a month I go out. I hang out with my girls. He's met my girls. He's passed the test. But secretly, you think she out here running around doing you dirty. And she call you over. She say, look, it's not gonna work out. You say, why? Because you're spying on me. How you figure I was spying on you? Well, my neighbor told me that they saw your car outside my house at 12:30 in the morning. You forgot. You done fell asleep. Neighbor walked by and said, yo, that's such and such boyfriend. What the hell? You get on the horn. And he might be concerned, friend. You got a stalker? Why you say that? Oh, this car was sitting out here as the plate. And she's like, yo, this fool sitting outside my house. Oh no, the stalker vibes. You gotta go. Respect the boundaries. Same thing for the women. You know he don't like to go to church. You know he's not into religion. But you nagging him to go. You nagging him to go. I just want you to go one time. He said, no, I don't like religion. I don't practice it. I don't subscribe to it. So you drive by his house Sunday afternoon, 1 o'clock. You know he's there for the kickoffs, 1 o'clock. There's a slate of games, but his car ain't in the driveway. So you post up. 2 o'clock passes, 3 o'clock passes. He ain't come back home. You say, okay, where does dude at? You start blowing up his phone. He don't reply. You start calling. He don't respond. You get back home about 6 o'clock, and then he calls. He said, "Is something wrong? Where were you at? I was watching the game. Where do you think I was?" And all of a sudden, now you left scrambling for a reason. He just decided to go out to the bar, not at home, grab some wings and some nachos and a nice shot of pineapple Ciroc. And here you are tripping. He say, "Oh, you know what? Uh-uh. This ain't gonna work. Because on Sundays, I'm watching football. Yeah, but I wanted you to come to church with me. And you say, no, you're gonna be at home, yada yada yada. Okay, I decided to step out into a bar and watch the game. What's wrong with that? Because he didn't decide to go to church with you? Oh, you're violent. Respect those boundaries.
Good examples. Definitely. Use respecting boundaries and decisions. Disrespect. Uh, disrespect is key. Uh, being disrespectful. And that could come in different variations. Again, that could come in, like you mentioned, the religious aspect, saying little things, disparaging comments. So it actually said disrespect and disparagement. Saying little comments, or it could be the fact that, hey, every one Sunday out of the month, I go out to brunch with my mother, or whatever the case is. Or it could be one day designated for that. And you making comments of he like Jody, a mama's boy, and all of that stuff. But he values the time with her. He makes sure, you know, she could be living alone. And he could say, it's my time to hang out with my mom, Dukes, whatever. But you always got something to say. And it's disrespectful by nature. I don't know how long that's going to last. Especially if he has, you know, a strong bond with his mother, or vice versa. It could be a one. It could be a woman, and she could spend time with her elderly dad. Like I
Mhm.
go over there, I clean, I wash his stuff, I make sure everything is prepared. But you got something to say? Damn, yeah, that nigga ain't got no woman that can come over there and do that. You
Yeah.
don't do that for me.
Right.
And you start making comments like that, probably won't last. It certainly won't. You ain't built up enough time to even comment uh, on certain things. So you just got to be mindful of that, uh, and see how things play out. And now, certain situations, sometimes you may be like, they're getting taken advantage of, but initially, you just have to respect those boundaries and say, this is what that person does. This is what we talked about that on the phone. And again, that's communication, that hopefully you communicate about certain things that happen in your life, or parents and upbringing. If you're not having those
Yeah.
conversations, I don't know what the fuck y'all talking about. To
Yeah.
initially get to know each other. So if y'all bypassed all of that and never talked about the past or the upbringing and all that stuff, then we wonder why things falter, because all that stuff is pivotal and it needs to be talked about.
And a lot of people, to follow that up, a lot of people think when an individual, whether it's male or female, when they talk about their childhood, they always assume that something negative is trauma. And that's not necessarily accurate. I want people to disabuse themselves of thinking like that. When somebody tells you about something that happened in their childhood, they're actually telling you something that they remember that they may not like, although it may not have been traumatic. They may not have liked being yelling at because they simply put, they don't like being yelled at. It's not necessarily traumatic to them, it just doesn't make them feel good. And let's face it, nobody wants to be made to feel bad. It reminds me of and you probably remember this, David, because Ben Roethlisberger, when he first got to Pittsburgh, Coach Cowher would yell at him, and he said, "Coach, you can talk to me. I don't like being yelled at."
Mhm.
Coach Cowher was that kind of coach, and Coach Cowher took it under advisement. He never yelled at Ben again. it doesn't make people cooperative. It actually has the opposite effect. This is why a lot of women will say, please don't yell at me. And men, because of the way we speak, we tend to be animated sometimes. So if a woman says that to you, take it under advisement. That means when you come to her and you want to address something, it is serious to you. Speak to her as if you're speaking to your 3-year-old daughter that you want to communicate something important to her, but you don't want to crush her spirit. How are you going to do that? And what does that look like? Does it look like daddy voice or does that sound like father voice? And there's a difference. I know I don't have kids, but I understand that I can speak to someone like I'm their dad, like I'm trying to instruct them, or like I'm their father and I'm trying to reprimand them. That's the difference. Like they say, daddy's little girl. There's a reason why they say that. Fathers take on a different connotation. Dads are there sometimes to have fun. Granddad. We hear grandfather, we think uh patriarch. We hear granddad, we think, oh, cotton candy, circus, presents. All right, people.
What's going on, Andrew? Thanks for joining us, brother. My good brother. We just talking. What's the subject matter? I know you're a busy man, so you probably just trying to catch up. But tonight's subject matter was the dating minimum wage, the bare minimum that happens in dating, or something that people kind of underestimate or just take these things for granted when they're basic. So love you all. Keep the faith. Always trying to keep the faith. Um so there was a couple more points to the respect thing. Trust and reliability. That goes a long way. And that has to do a lot to do with consistency. Uh when you're consistent, people tend to trust you more
Hmm.
because they know what you're going to bring to the table and they know you're reliable. So when you say certain things, you got to own up to it. You got to make it happen. Typically, when you don't make things happen and you tell people certain things, probably shows that you really don't care, because people that you care about, you don't really like disappointing them. But in some cases, folks is haphazardous. They just do whatever. They're unreliable. Oh, I didn't call. Oh, I told you this or do that. I didn't make that happen. So that's going to be a barrier to a relationship, especially when you're dating. Trust and reliability. If you're going to say you're going to do something, try to make it
Yeah.
happen. And I understand sometimes things happen that may falter that. But again, if we go back to probably point number one, if you explain that or you communicate and like, listen, this is what's going down. I'm not gonna be able to do this, but we gonna reschedule and I'm gonna make it up to you. Then it's a whole different thing. But when you kind of say, "Oh well, I couldn't make it. Eh, tough shit. I had something else going on." That that deliverance is hurtful. But you have a lot of people uh who do that, or they respond like that because they feel like they're dealing with somebody who don't have no options or no power, and they think they could do whatever. They sitting around, jacket zipped up, waiting for you to come through. Hell, that's a no show,
Hmm.
no show, no call, no nothing. Oh, I was meaning to come. I was meaning to come by, but I was so tired. I laid across the bed and fell asleep. Damn, you slept all this time. It's like it's like 12 o'clock in the afternoon the next day. Haven't heard you ain't get up to do nothing, to pee, do anything. If that's happening and it's continuously happening, you're in a sinking ship. You're in a sinking ship. No respect, no care in the world for you, and more than likely, in most cases, you probably don't deserve that. Some people, you probably deserve to get every little bullshit you that comes your way, but for the most, you don't deserve that to be sitting around waiting. And they tell you I laid across the bed, and their ass was comatose for like 12 straight hours.
May have been drinking too much.
I think it was one more point, and then we could get ready to close it out. Let me see. Respect. Okay. Accountability. We always talk about that people don't want to be accountable for nothing. They don't want to take accountability. They will blame everything and everybody for any particular situation instead of saying, "Yeah, I messed up.
Yeah.
I could have did better. I should have did this." They'll make every excuse. And they'll buck with you. They'll buck heads and all that stuff. And who wants to really get into back and forth, especially at our age? These full blown arguments and stuff like that over accountability. Yeah, you messed up. I I need to do better. That go a long way. Just admitting it instead of saying, because I keep telling people over and over, you cannot say this has happened and then say but. Once you say but, all that shit you said before wipes out everything. Because when you throw but in, it's like you're looking for exception or making an excuse. Yeah, I should have been on time. I could have did this, but because before you said but, the person was kind of like, okay, all right, I understand. But once you said but, that throw everything off.
Yeah.
I keep saying that people don't understand. Remove that. Remove that. That's just like when we say, "Oh yeah, oh Herb's supposed to be writing his little book or his little this. Oh, they got their little furniture set." When you say that, it's showing a lack of respect for that
Yeah.
person or what they did or what they accomplished. Oh, they got their little degree. Oh, they got their little car. That's
Yeah.
just so funny
You
to
hear
me.
that often in certain circles.
Anything I'm doing anything you want to add to that?
Nah, that's it.
Yeah. Well, any closing comments or anything that we ain't done? It's still some more talking points, but as you can see, there's little things, just eye openers for you to think about.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
damn, do I do that? Do I say that? Damn, did I minimize that? Or damn, I had all this food. I cooked and made all this food, and I know he didn't. I know he worked late, and I ain't offer him anything.
Yeah.
Bunch of little things that occur that we don't really we kind of dismiss, and then you wonder why somebody started acting funny or why they
There's
not
reasons.
returning your
And
calls no more.
there's always reasons. And that's the funny thing. People don't think there's a reason for quote unquote someone to be acting funny towards them. There's always a reason now. It may not get disclosed to you, then, but eventually it'll filter out. And the one thing people will say is, well, why didn't you say anything? More than likely they did. They just weren't clear about it. And number one, communication. Be clear about things that bother you. And don't be coy. Be upfront. Shout out to Alan Roger Corey. Be upfront, straightforward, and personal. Do that. You'll save yourself a lot of heartache, a lot of grief. And if something's not meant to be, then you know what? Don't dwell on it. Don't linger around where you not want to get out. Hit the turbo. R2, get out of there. Don't stay there. No need to.
Any other closing comments you want to add
Ah,
to that?
that is it. That is it.
So, all right, folks. It was like 9 standards. Some of these things you have to take time with. We got to
Respect.
respect
There's,
and
there's values. You hit on reliability, personal growth, red flags. Yeah,
so
we can pick this. We can always pick this up next week too, because there's a lot more.
hold on, I'm just trying to
Mhm.
I'm all over the hold on. Okay, yeah. So we left off at respect, but then again, share values, physical connection, reliability, personal growth, and red flags. So next week we'll cover down on that on those. And we'll again, we don't expect to change the world, but all it takes is a one person or somebody to listen to this and say, damn, I never had it explained to me like that, or I never understood why, or they'll start seeing a consistent pattern. Like, damn, I always hit the railroad at this point with communication, or damn, am I disrespectful? Um, so it's just throwing out these conversations, and some people grab it, some people don't. And I know, like a lot of times, to me, like when you clip these different things and people only see a snapshot of a minute, it grabs people attention.
Mhm.
And like Herb, you're a big hit on your stuff, whatever. Like without TikTok or YouTube, like it could be certain things that said, and you might have like 2-3 thousand views on it. So right then during that time people they might be you know googling something or just putting in key phrases and that come up and they're like, damn, okay. So you never know who's paying attention or who's
Mhm.
learning or gaining information for certain things. And that's why, hey, we've been in it for a long haul, sticking with it. You know, just keep crying and keep having these conversations. And a lot of times people don't want to face the music, so they rather run and hide under their covers and all this stuff and be in denial. But all of this stuff is basic stuff, but it's not happy. If you can't handle the basics, you'll never get to the complex stuff. If you can't do what 50 plus 50 it equals 100, 40 plus 60 equals 100, how the hell you think you'll ever take trigonometry, uh
Yeah.
geometry, calculus, or whatever? So how can you expect to have a fulfilling relationship if you can't handle the basics that we've been talking about? It won't happen. So you can dream and say, "Oh, I'll pray for somebody to send me a good man, or I need a good woman." If you're not capable of handling the basics, I
Yeah.
don't give a damn who sends you what. It probably won't last that long. So, and I know many of y'all might say, "Are y'all married? Are y'all with someone?" Or whatever the case is. That's what the women used to say.
Yeah.
everything is by choice. For real. For real. So it's not one of them situations that people talking and they're irrelevant and they're not even in the landscape of even if that's the route they wanted to go. Hey, I can hey, yeah, let me just be quiet. I'll save it for next time. All right, good people. Appreciate you all. For the ones for everybody who tuned in. Maybe you just clicked by, stopped by, heard a couple points, went back to Monday Night Football or whatever the case is. Please chime in. Please look out for the clips. They're short. You can comment on that, on the storylines and all of that stuff. And keep subscribing because again, trying to get to that 1K. And I knew once I got to 900 something, it was going to be a real uphill battle, but it's coming.
Yeah. Well,
It's coming to crack that 1K, and then you got to move into other areas to get monetization, and it's real. It's been a process, but hey, content is easy, and that's the problem with many people. We come up with different clever schemes to have a whole discussion, and look at this shit, 2 hours and still wasn't finished.
yeah.
So it's just doing homework, doing research, coming up with different things, making it happen. Any other thing you want to add to it, Herb?
No, that's it, man. Let's keep this rolling. Let's keep
All
it
right,
rolling
man.
next week.
All right, so everybody be good, be well. See you next time, and stay tuned for the content throughout the week. And hey, life is life. All
Yeah,
right,
it is.
we out.
All right, people. Y'all be safe.
All right, peace.